Alright guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about scaling paid advertising once you have a profitable campaign. So first, what to know before scaling. Before you start scaling, it is incredibly important that you have a strong ROAS. Why? Because the performance will decline as you scale, as the Facebook and TikTok ad algorithms will target less qualified users. However, if the volume offsets the lower ROAS, you will make more money. So let's say you're testing a product and you're spending $100 per day and you're getting a 5 ROAS, which means for every $100 you spend, you make back $500. However, once you start scaling, that return on ROAS will come down. You might go from making a 5 ROAS at $100 per day ad spend to making a 3 ROAS at $500 per day ad spend. However, as you're getting more volume in, if that volume offsets the lower ROAS, you will make more money. Now, the reason for this is because once you start running ads at a low budget, Facebook will show your ads to the most qualified buyers, to the people who are most likely to purchase. However, once you start scaling, Facebook will have to show your ad to less qualified buyers in order to scale. As a result, the performance will decline and your ROAS will go down. So before you start scaling, you need to have a very strong ROAS. Next, not all products scale. Some products cap out at $500 to $1,000 per day, just because the market for the product is too small. Now, this is an issue you might face in smaller European countries. So if you're in the US, most products can scale a lot bigger. But if you're in, for example, if you're in Sweden, the markets are a lot smaller, so your products may cap out a lot faster. And the reason for this is because not enough people are in market to purchase right now. The audience just isn't there. So when you're running paid ads on Facebook and you're optimizing for conversions, for purchase, Facebook is targeting people who are most likely to purchase right now. So there's only a set amount of those people every single day. So what happens is once you start spending more money and you reach that cap, any more money you spend will no longer be profitable. So not all products scale. Some products just cap out at $500 to $1,000. If you do get to that range and you can no longer scale, you might need to test a new product or test a new offer on your product to try and reach more people. Next, make sure the backend systems are fully set up. Make sure you have good customer service, a good product, and a good customer experience. When you're scaling, Facebook will start sending customer feedback surveys to your customers. And if you get poor customer feedback, Facebook will ban your ad account. So you need to make sure that you have very good customer service. Make sure you reply to every email within 12 hours. If you don't want to do this yourself, hire a VA. Use a software such as Zendesk to make the customer service easier. Make sure you have a good product. Make sure you've sampled the product and the quality is good. And overall, you want to have a good customer experience. So don't use AliExpress at this stage. If you have consistent orders, you should have a sourcing agent right now, which means the shipping times will be a lot faster and everything will be more controlled. So make sure the backend systems are completely set up. And finally, make sure you have cash flow ready for scaling. Don't scale too fast. Be prepared for Shopify and PayPal to hold your money. So this is very common. Once you start scaling, because it's risky for PayPal and Shopify, they put a hold on your account. Usually they say, okay, we're going to hold 20% of your revenue for 60 days. So you need to operate on 80% of your revenue. So make sure you don't scale too fast and you have enough money ready to pay for orders and to pay for Facebook ad costs. So next, scaling budgets. There are two ways to increase the budget on Facebook. Number one, you duplicate an ad set or campaign at a higher budget. Or number two, you increase the budget on the existing ad set/campaign. Both methods work, but it depends on your ad account. So you should test it out and see for yourself. So I usually start with duplicating budgets. And the reason for this is when you increase the budget on an existing ad set, Facebook has to re-optimize again and all your learning gets restarted. As a result, sometimes if you have a good ad set and you increase the budget, the performance fully declines. So I prefer to duplicate budgets first before increasing the budget. So to duplicate the budget, you can duplicate the ad set at up to 2 times the daily budget and leave it to run for between 3 to 4 days before analyzing results. If you're profitable, you can duplicate it again and increase the budget. So this is a safe method of doing it. When you do duplicate an ad set, make sure you leave the old one running unless it stops performing. And next, to increase budgets on an ad set, you can increase the budget by up to 50% at 12 a.m. and leave it to run for between 3 to 4 days before analyzing results. If it's profitable, once again, just repeat the process. And it's good to do this at 12 a.m. so the budget increase can be spread out throughout the entire day. And finally, if you already have a good set of winning audiences and creative, you can put them into a CBO campaign. A CBO campaign spends the budget at the campaign level and will spread out your budget across all of the ad sets. So that's also a great method of scaling. And And obviously, to increase the budget on that, you can duplicate the CBO, or you can increase the budget by 50% every few days. So this is the main way to scale a budget on an ad set. It's very simple. The most important thing with scaling is your copy, creative, and product. So going into the Facebook ad account and trying all these strategies and tactics isn't really going to move the needle. The most important thing is having a good copy, good creative, good product, and then you can scale. So stage one. Stage one is interest expansion. At this stage, you can expect to get to $500 to $1,000 per day in revenue. So with interest expansion, the goal is to create a base of profitable interests in your ad account. Now, if you're in the scaling stage, you should already be profitable and have creatives that convert. So you should continue testing new interests. If you're not profitable right now, you can't scale. Because like I said earlier, if you scale something that isn't profitable, it won't work, as the ROAS will go down and you'll just lose more money. So you should test 5 to 10 new interests every single week. Scale the best performing ones by duplicating or increasing the budget, and kill the worst performing ones. You can test general keywords in your niche, different brands, magazines, TV shows, and public figures. With interests, don't overthink it too much. Find interests that are relevant to your product and just test them. And in addition, you could test a broad ad set, which means an ad set with no targeting attached. And once again, you can scale interests via duplication or by increasing the budget. Stage 2, lookalike expansion. With this, you can scale to $1,000 per day. So at this stage, you want to create a base of profitable lookalike audiences in your ad account. A lookalike audience is an audience of people who share similar characteristics with your existing users. So, for example, if you give Facebook a list of 300 people that have purchased, Facebook will use their data to find similar customers to those 300 that you gave. So a lookalike audience is a very powerful way of scaling. Now, to use a lookalike audience, you want to have between 300 to 500 events. You can start doing them at 100 events. However, I found in my experience that there isn't enough data for Facebook to really optimize. So start doing this when you have 300 to 500 events. And these are the lookalikes that you can test: view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, purchase email list, which is an export of your purchases, and your email list, which is just an export of your email list. And next, test these sizes at 1% lookalike, 3% lookalike, 5% lookalike, and 10% lookalike. When you're creating the lookalike audiences in Facebook, you can choose the size. And if you're in a smaller country, go broader. So if you're in Netherlands, for example, a 1% lookalike may be too small. You might want to test a 10% lookalike just to start with. And once again, you can scale these via duplication or by increasing the budget. Next, stage 3, broad expansion. And with this, you can infinitely scale. With this method, you can scale to 10, 20, 30K per day, depending on how broad your product is. So if you're already doing over $1,000 per day in revenue and your product is broad enough to scale mass market, you can expand with broad targeting. And with this method, you take your best performing creatives and add them into a CBO campaign. In this campaign, you have one CBO campaign, you have 3 to 5 ad sets targeting broad, which means no targeting. And inside each ad set, you will have 3 ads. And you want to start this CBO at between $500 to $1,000 per day. So at this stage, you already have winning creatives, you already have a winning product, you should already have a lot of revenue and a lot of data in the ad account. Now, once again, at the ad set level, you're targeting broad. There's no targeting, there's no interest, there's nothing in there. You're just leaving it completely broad for the Facebook algorithm to optimize. And you can start this campaign at $500 to $1,000 per day. If it's profitable, you can scale via duplication or by increasing the budget. And by doing this, you should be able to infinitely scale your revenue until it's no longer profitable. Now, this just depends on your market size. If you have a broad mass market product, you can scale a lot bigger. If you have something that's not as mass market, you can't scale very much. So using this method, I was able to scale to 20K per day on one of my brands. As a bonus, here we are in one of my live ad accounts. I'm going to show you an example of this campaign structure at scale. So here we have 5 CBO campaigns that are duplicates of each other. And inside each CBO campaign, I have 5 ad sets that are completely broad. And inside each ad set, I have 3 ads. So as you can see here, I've duplicated the same CBO 5 times at $1,000 per day. And the reason for this is what I found is once I started scaling the budget past $1,000 per day, my cost per purchase increased. So I found that $1,000 per day was the limit at which I could get the highest ROAS and the highest volume. So what I did is I duplicated the CBO multiple times at the same budget. And as you can see, we have an $8.50 cost per purchase here. We've spent $200,000 on these 5 campaigns. As you know, on Facebook, the reporting tends to be a lot lower. The ROAS here is closer to 3.4. And, so that's around $200,000 spent for around $650,000 in revenue. We have an 80% gross margin here. If you take off around 5% for payment processing fees, you have a profit here of around $250,000. So the structure is very, very simple here. Inside each campaign, I have 5 different ad sets. So here we are inside one of the campaigns. As you can see, I have 5 different ad sets. All of these are targeting broad. Every single ad set in here is a duplicate of the other one. And inside the settings, everything is left broad. So here we are inside the ad set settings. As you can see, the audience size is 2.6 billion to 3 billion people. I've left it completely broad. I'm going completely worldwide. The location here is worldwide. Ages, I've left it completely broad. All genders, all interests, behaviors, demographics. There's nothing in here. There's no exclusions. Set it to all languages, automatic placements, and one-day click. So as you can see, there's no settings inside here. I've left it completely broad, and I've left it to Facebook to optimize.